Before I start this study of Revelation, I'll preface it by telling you where I'm coming from and why I started this study. I've read Revelation many times, and in addition to trying to understand the obscure symbolism in Revelation, I often struggle to comprehend the sequence of events. The green grass gets burned up, and later all of the grass and trees are burned up. The stars fall from heaven, and then later the stars fall from heaven again, and later heaven is rolled up as a scroll. Stories stop, restart at a different place in time, jump ahead, divert to some story about a whore and a dragon and a flood and a child being born, and Babylon, which no longer exists literally. What is the correct interpretation and sequence of all this? Chapter 13 tells of the tribulation and mark of the beast, followed by chapter 14, which tells of Jesus being on Mount Zion with the 144,000. Then goes on to talk about the mark of the beast again in verse 9, but tells of the fall of Babylon in verse 8, then goes on to tell of the two reapings with the sharp sickle. Chapter 17 and 18 talk about Babylon again. Chapter 19 talks about the white horse battle. Well, one day I heard a Bible teacher say that Satan always comes at number 6, the sixth seal, the sixth trumpet, and the sixth plague vial. So I got a brain flash and decided to write out all the seals, trumpets, and vials, and then put all the ones together, all the twos, and so on, until all the sevens. Well, that didn't work, but when I put the seals back into sequence, 1 through 7, and followed that with the trumpets and plague vials still paired up. So I ended up with the 7 seals, then the first trumpet, then the first plague vial, then the second trumpet, then the second plague vial, and so on in the presentation till you get to the 7th trumpet and the 7th plague vial. And it completely clears up the sequence problem, just realizing that the plague vial is just a more intense version of the same trumpet event. So that was a real revelation, and it makes the book of Revelation extremely more understandable. Some other questions that I'd like to answer. Is there a rapture, and if so, when will it be in the sequence of events? Before the tribulation, at the midpoint of the tribulation, or at the end of the tribulation? Since for a Christian to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord, why does the body need to be resurrected at the last day? What is the purpose and significance of the 144,000 Jews? What is the purpose and significance of the sea of glass? What is the meaning of beyond 1260 days mentioned in Daniel? What is the abomination of desolation? What is the mark of the beast? What is the wound of the beast? Why is there more than one beast mentioned? What is the covenant at the start of the Great Tribulation? Why are the Judeans told to flee to the mountains at the start of the tribulation? Who is the rider of the white horse of the apocalypse? What is the meaning of each of the 4 horses of the apocalypse, especially the black horse with the balances? What is the significance of oil and wine? What about earthquakes? What about Gog and Magog? What about Great Babylon? What about Judgment Day, and how will it be for Christians and non-Christians? What's going on with Christians and non-Christians that have died before Judgment Day? What about heaven? What will we Christians be doing in heaven? And many other questions, but those are some that I jotted down as I was going through the study. So let's begin the study. The first seal. I saw a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. The second seal. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. There went out another horse that was red. Power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another, and there was given to him a great sword. Some say that the rider of the white horse that goes out to conquer at the first seal is Jesus. Others say that it is Satan or the Antichrist imitating Jesus as a counterfeit. It is neither. Look at Zechariah 6:1-8, and you will see that the riders of the 4 horses of the apocalypse are simply angels doing the will of God on earth. Zechariah 6:1-8. And I turned and lifted up my eyes and looked and saw 4 chariots coming out from between 2 mountains. The mountains were of brass. In the first chariot were red horses, the second chariot black horses, the third chariot white horses, and in the fourth chariot grizzled and bay horses. Then I said to the angel that talked with me, What are these, my Lord? And the angel answered and said to me, These are the four spirits of the heavens, which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth. The black horses which are there go forth into the north country, and the white go forth after them, and the grizzled go forth toward the south country. And the bay went forth and sought to go that they might walk to and fro through the earth. And he said, Get you hence, walk to and fro through the earth. So they walked to and fro through the earth. Then cried he to me and said to me, Look, these that go toward the north country have quieted my spirit in the north country. So we see then from Zechariah that the riders on the four horses are spirits sent from God to do his will on the earth. Everything that I've said up until now has been straight from the Bible, but what I'm about to say is just my opinion. I believe based on what I'm seeing going on in the world that these spirits on the horses are preparing the world for the end times, both in technological advances and in politics and world events. The invention of computers and satellite GPS, satellite digital images, and RFID, which is radio frequency scanning of an electronic chip signal, and the internet and global economy, credit cards, United Nations, television, and more, all to prepare the world for the mark of the beast and the Great Tribulation. These inventions didn't just come to mankind by accident. It was all planned by God and implemented by the spirit on the first white horse. The other three spirits on horses are sent by God to each accomplish a specific thing. Wars and rumors of wars. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. When you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end is not yet. Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. The third seal. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. I saw a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. I heard a voice in the middle of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see you hurt not the oil and the wine. This rider on the black horse with the pair of balances has to do with economics. It is indicating that there's going to be a downturn in the economic reality. And wheat and barley I'll explain in the next slide, and the oil and wine I'll explain at the end in the summary. Many Bible teachers say that penny is to be interpreted as a day's wage, and I believe that because if it was a literal penny, it would indicate that, the economy was flourishing and that there was no inflation, but it's just the opposite. Can you imagine that taking a whole day's wage just to get a loaf of bread, measure of wheat or measure of barley for a day's wage? That's what it's saying. So the economic times are going to be very, very difficult at this time. Oil, wine, wheat, barley. The field is wasted, the land mourns, for the corn is wasted, the new wine is dried up, the oil languishes. Be ashamed, all of you husbandmen, howl, you farmers, for the wheat and for the barley, because the harvest of the field is perished. The vine is dried up, and the fig tree languishes. The pomegranate tree, the palm tree also, and the apple tree, even all the trees of the field, are withered, because joy is withered from the sons of men. So you see, this further illustrates that when you're talking about wheat and barley and all these crops and oil and wine, it's talking about the economy. So this will be severely difficult and hard economic times, and I believe that this is going to facilitate the emergence of the Antichrist, and he'll probably have the solution to solve these economic problems. So very tough economy is what's going to make it possible for the Antichrist to come to power. The fourth seal. When he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. I saw a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given to them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. The first 4 seals are conquering, wars, economic hardship, and starvation, disease, plagues, famine, and people being killed by animals. These all have happened throughout history, but when these seals are opened, it will be much more severe than has been occurring. The conquering is God having his way politically to set the stage for his will to conquer anything else that would hinder his plans. The wars have happened and are happening and will continue to happen. Same with economic hardship, only this time it will be much more severe and be worldwide, and will happen in Jerusalem. The fourth seal with the pale horse is what we see happening in Africa for the last few decades with famines, Ethiopia, Somalia, Sierra Leone, AIDS, starvation, tribal wars, genocide, refugees, and it's one of the few places left on earth where there are people being killed or hurt by wild beasts. And Africa is about 1/4 of the earth if you only count inhabited areas. So the first four seals are already happening and will intensify. Famines and pestilence. There shall be famines and pestilence, diseases, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows. The Lord God says, "How much more when I send my 4 sword judgments on Jerusalem, the sword and the famine and the noisome beast and the pestilence, to cut off from it man and beast." So the 4 sword judgments are the first 4 seals. Although they've been happening all over the world, when they happen on Jerusalem, that's when the seal is definitely open and is taking place and is being completed. The word noisome is not usually used very often. It means harmful or dangerous. And cut off from it man and beast. Maybe Jerusalem's going to be desolate, huh? Another thing to point out from these verses is that these are the start of the tribulation. These are the start of the judgments that are going to be handed out. Earthquakes and famines. There shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. Great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Approximately 1,000 earthquakes measuring 5.0 and above occur yearly. Earthquakes of the greatest intensity happen about once a year, and major earthquakes 7.0 to 7.9 occur about 18 times a year. Strong earthquakes 6.0 to 6.9 occur about 10 times a month, and moderate earthquakes 5.0 to 5.9 happen more than twice daily. The largest earthquake in recorded history occurred in Chile of magnitude 9.5 on May 22, 1960. The biggest earthquake in the contiguous 48 states was the magnitude 7.9 Fort Tejon quake on January 9, 1857. Throughout the world, there are 1 great magnitude 8.0 or more, 18 major 7.0 to 7.9, 120 large 6.0 to 6.9, and 1,000 moderate 5.0 to 5.9 earthquakes in an average year. There was a 7.0 earthquake just recently in Haiti on Tuesday, January 12, 2010. Geological scientists claim that the intensity and frequency of earthquakes has remained statistically constant over the centuries. The same way that they all denied global warming was a reality until they saw video and satellite photos of polar ice caps melting and glaciers turning into water. When the earthquakes do become great and frequent, there will come a point when there will be no denying it. The 5th seal. When he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God, and for the testimony which they held. They cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, do you not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? White robes were given to every one of them. They were told that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants and brethren that were so destined were martyred also. Similar to the first 4 seals, the 5th seal, martyrdom, has been happening in various countries since Christ started his ministry on earth. But there will come a time when it will be rampant throughout the earth. Just as the Jews feared the Gestapo during the Holocaust, so will Christians be wary of police and even their own families. As of now, I do not believe that this seal has been opened yet. The other 4 seals have been opened and are